Hello everyone, this is Courtney with Little Black Homes on the Prairie. So glad you decided to join us as I do my April homeschool wrap up. So get somewhere to sit down and let's hop in. All right, so I cannot believe it. April is over. It went by so fast. I don't know how the weather was where you guys live, but here it was rainy and windy and dark so many more days, and it was sunny, and I was hoping for some more out of April, but that's all right. So as we do our wrap up for April, I was looking back through my notes of what we did, and we did some fun things in April. At the end of this video, I'm just gonna put a quick little montage together so you can see what we did, or you can hop on our Instagram page or my blog. So I think the biggest thing for me was growth in April. I had someone come up to me and they were asking what our homeschool looked like. And so this person is like in their 60s, and they said, so are your kids like ahead or behind or the same as kids in school? And all I heard was behind. Like, are they behind? And I was so offended. I was like, in my mind, how dare you? Like, how dare you ask if my kids are behind? Of course they're not behind. Why would you think they're behind? So meanwhile, she's still talking. I'm not even hearing anything that she's saying because I'm just like, why do you not think I'm competent enough to get my kids up to speed? Like all these different things. Meanwhile, she did not say any of that. She just said, are they the same, behind, or ahead? And so when I told this story to my sister, she was like, Courtney, you need to slow down. Like, why are you getting so upset? I said, well, because they're not behind. Why would they be behind? And I had to come to the realization that, well, if they are behind, is that a big deal? Like, I don't know what the standards are because in our state, we don't have to report to the state. I don't have to report to the school district. I do keep a portfolio, but I don't have to. Like, I'm not aware of what the state standards are. I just follow our curriculum. And so I thought, well, if they are behind, is it actually a problem? And like, no, it isn't, because obviously every child is not going to be up to whatever the standards are in every single area. Like, maybe they'll be ahead in some and they'll be at standard for some and below, or maybe they will be ahead in everything, but no one's going to be in the same spot. Everyone's going to have an area where they excel, where they're maybe just like doing okay, and maybe where they need some help, and that's everyone. So that was my biggest thing, is that I have to not tie my self-worth and identity to my kids' academics and be okay with that. So with that out of the way, let's talk about what I did in April. So one of the things that we really did was talk about pirates. So we read this book, Pirateology. We read this book every day, and it's written similar to a journal. And this, was it upside down? Did I have it upside down? Maybe I did, I'm not sure. That's okay. It's written like a journal, and this person is actually a pirate hunter. And so each day when we read the book, there's some interactive areas. So you can see, you can look for the pouch, but also there were tons of maps in it. So we got our globe out. We were looking at all these different locations. Like, for instance, this is like Juan Fernandez Island. So then we found it on the globe. And this book was amazing. They had some knot tying. There's a sundial in here. I had never used a sundial before. Like I told you, it was raining for most of April, but we had a day where we got outside and used the sundial, and I was so impressed that it worked because it's just a little paper sundial. So anyway, this book was great for us. Pirateology, we love that. Another thing that we got into was gardening, getting our garden started, and looking at the anatomy of flowers. So I got some flowers from Trader Joe's. We had some little tools and tweezers and things with the kids. Get into it. We used this book. Sorry, the ring light makes a glare, but anyway. And this book does a great job of breaking down the anatomy of a flower. Looks like this page. And so once again, I give the kids a flower, give them tools. Then I had all the different parts of a flower printed off for them so they can label the parts they have and glue them to a sheet of paper. So since then, every time we see flowers, we're trying to identify like what type of flower it is. So here's the page that Lizzie was great for the anatomy. So I highly recommend that book. Then we also, Yuval Zalmer, he does a great job with his like big books of, so this is the Big Book of Blooms. Fantastic illustrations, great information. And especially with Easter happening, there were so many like bouquets and flower arrangements at church. So the kids really love that. Another thing that we really enjoyed was talking more about geology. I didn't think I was going to be into geology this much, but it's really interesting to try to identify different types of rocks and learn about minerals and things like that. And we talked about sedimentary rocks. Then when we were driving down the highway, the kids saw the layers in the rocks and they were like, oh, look at that, look at the layers in the rocks. So it was fun to see that come to life for them and to be real. So I use The Good and the Beautiful for geology. This is the only subject that I have purchased from them. I do like it because we're doing Montessori, we're studying different types of sciences all together. So we don't just talk about geology. We've also been digging into chemistry and botany all at the same time. But I do like that when I go to the Good and Beautiful curriculum, I can quickly look at the lesson plans. It usually doesn't require a whole lot to do the experiments, but I've been using them. And then I have bought some experiment books that we have been using. But if you haven't seen the Good and Beautiful, what they do is you can buy just the PDF, or you can buy the PDF and print version of a unit. And when you get the printed version, it just comes on like glossy paper. And then I put them into protective sleeves. So it's printed in color and everything for you, but like it's not hole punch and it's not bound. It just comes loose, and then that allows you to pull it out and make copies. So we've been using that this school year. And then it also comes with these different terms, and you can just, I laminated them and then cut them and put them up on our board. So that was really cool. And the next thing, my daughter is learning to associate a written numeral with a physical quantity. So she's doing that for 10 through 19, and I will show a quick clip of that at the end of this video. Another thing, my son, so the youngest one, so he has really been enjoying, I'm not going to turn this because they're sleeping, but this little knob on the jack in the box. And me and my husband were just saying, is there any creepier toy? Like, this one looks pretty decent. Like, is there any creepier toy than a jack in the box? So I'm sure many of you remember Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Remember Lady Elaine, whatever. Like the very, very odd looking puppet. Like the tip of her nose was so like burgundy red. That's what I think of every time I think of a Jack in the Box. Creepy. But that one, like I said, isn't too bad. But that's been the thing that he's been playing with. And now it just costs like $2. And so he's broken it. Like it still plays a song, but the jack doesn't pop out at the right time. So now it's a little bit more fun because it just pops out randomly while you're turning it. So the kids have liked that. It reminds us of Elf, you know, when he's like testing all the Jack in the Boxes and he's like turning it and then he's scared every time it pops out. So he's doing that. Another thing that has really been great for us this month, it started in March, but we're now part of a homeschool PE class. And that has been so excellent for us. It's usually 2 times a week. The activities have varied. I taught jump rope 2 times, and then the kids have done boxing. This we're gonna do hiking. Then they in April, let's see what else. They did some like obstacle course type work and some soccer, and they really have liked that. So it mixes up our day. It gets them out seeing other kids, interacting, and we've just had really good conversations after PE when there was like a conflict during class. And I do my best just to watch, like to not jump in, because I want to just see how they handle themselves, because they have to be able to handle themselves. And so I observe, and then usually after class, I say, okay, what about this? What about that? What do you think? Could we have done this differently? And so that has been, it's been hilarious to watch. Like, not their PE skills, it's just been hilarious to watch them try to work things out and like watch these little societies form during class. This is so funny. That has been great, and it's been good for me too. Um, yeah. So I'm trying to think what else I was gonna say. Oh, so with getting to talk to other moms from the PE class, I think one thing that's been really important is just talking about how hard it is to homeschool various ages, and especially when the youngest age is like a baby or a toddler, and they do need a lot of interaction, and there's just a lot of things that get into or get hurt, and then there's certain things that you don't get out, like whether it be Legos or just small pieces, because the baby might get them, and you have the older kid who is not able to do all things they want to do, or always has to do things with their door closed so the baby doesn't get in there. And I just remember thinking that when I was pregnant and it was hard to homeschool, like, okay, once I have the baby, like, things will be easier. Then once I had the baby, and I was like, oh, still not easier. But once he gets a little bit older, it'll be easier. And now he's a toddler, and I think I finally realized, like, it's not going to get easier. It's always going to be challenging. The challenges will always look different, but if I embrace that versus being so resistant to it, or looking for a like, well, there's going to come a day where it's not going to be hard anymore. I think now that I have accepted that, things, I wouldn't say they're going better, but I'm not getting derailed as often. I think that's what it is. I'm not getting derailed because I'm realizing this is just how it's going to be. So that's what April did for us. It really helped me to be okay with where we are in homeschooling, not be upset if maybe my kids are behind in a certain area, and more than anything, understand that our pace is going to be different than anyone else's, and that I can't make us go any faster. We could go slower, but I can't make us go any faster, and that's okay. So with that being said, I'm going to show you guys the montage of our month. Please subscribe. Please follow me on Instagram. I'm at prepared_beginnings_Montessori. I'll put that in the description below. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your new month, which will be May. All right, bye. So you can see here are books that we used, and we love to dissect the flowers. She's really diving deep and loving every moment. This is 10. This says 1.
1.
This is 1. May I have it? Thank you. This says 11. Oh, yes.
Shoes are very short. Okay, don't go up.
So you have fan, man, bag, hat, mat. Here my son is using the multiplication beadboard. You can see the numbers 1 through 10 across the top. Then he has the number 4 in the side slot because he's working on times tables for 4. He counts the beads to verify he's correct.
66. There is no 11.
I know, you won't be able to do the 11 or 12, but you can do it.
I think I know how to do that.
Okay.
I think you put 4 more there.
You could do that.
94.
Like I said, we did a sedimentary rock study. Here is their finished product. They layered all these different types of sediment into a jar, and On the few days we had some sun, we went outside and had a picnic. And I hope you all enjoyed watching our wrap up of April. See you all next time.